soaker hoses. Do they work? Well, I can tell you that I did a lot of research about drip irrigation and soaker hoses online, and Google reviews, there were dozens, if not hundreds of people saying, stay away from soaker hoses. You don't want anything to do with them because they water unevenly. You'll get a bunch of water in one spot and not much in another spot. They can clog up with dirt. Heck, they can even break if you move them around too much. So I was like, well, they seem so easy to use. How could I possibly go wrong? I would say soaker hoses do work because we're using them to grow these watermelon and to grow these peppers and to grow this corn and to grow these green beans. Inside this hoop house, we're using soaker hoses to irrigate over 150 tomato plants. I would say yes, soaker hoses do work if you know two very important secrets.
Hey, this is Rich from HouseBarons.com. My brother Dave and I renovate houses along with Dave's son Caleb.
And if you're new to our channel, consider subscribing because we want to show you how to do a job yourself so you can save a ton of money. Well, honestly, that was a big setup there in the hoop house to put all that soaker hose irrigation in. And when I first turned it all on, I was pretty horrified to find it was not watering evenly. There'd be a lot of water at one end and not much at the other end. I was definitely alarmed, but then I thought, you know, there has to be a solution to this. And so I did a lot more research and I found two tips. So the first tip is that you want to have a closed loop system. Okay, so this green hose here, so this is our main water source right there. And we've connected it to one of these. And this is called a two-way brass shutoff valve. I'm running two loops off of this one line, so you can see I've got this valve is off. If it were like that, it would be on, but since it's that direction, it's off. So over here, the main water's coming in right here. Now we'll open that. We'll open this. So the water's traveling in through here, and it's going into both the soaker hose and the garden hose. And then at the other end, the water's traveling through and hitting the soaker hose at the other end. Both these hoses are 50 feet long, 50-foot garden hose, 50-foot soaker hose. That soaker hose is going over sunflower that's been planted every couple of feet. To make a loop, you can see at the other end we have the same setup. So we've got now the other end of the hose is here, and this valve is open, which means if you think about it, this soaker hose is 50 feet long. It now has water coming at it with equal pressure from both ends, and it's just making one giant loop. And therefore, what was happening to me before in the hoop house when I first set everything up is all the water was coming out right at the beginning. So where the soaker hose began, over that like 10 or 15 feet, all the water was running out and there wasn't much water at the other end. But when you have a closed loop system like this, you've got water coming with equal pressure at both ends of the soaker hose, and it forces the water to water pretty evenly down the entire line. The second tip actually seems counterintuitive, but what you really want when you're using soaker hoses is to have low pressure, not high pressure. In order to achieve that, it's so simple. You're not going to believe how easy this is. I think when I was initially using soaker hoses, I would turn it up real high because I'm like, oh, I need that water, to shoot through there. But it doesn't. It just looks for the first opening and it comes out, and that will give you uneven watering. So all you have to do is come to your spigot and you're going to turn it just 1/4 turn. And that's it. That's how easy it is. And now you have low pressure water coming out. So if you think about it, you've got this closed loop. So water is coming out from both directions of the soaker hose, traveling along at very low speed, low pressure. And that way it can be dispersed evenly throughout all the holes along the whole 50-foot run. I've got this hose open right now to show you how the water's coming out. So you can see this is low pressure. It's not a geyser, it's just coming out kind of slowly. All right, so now I'll hook this up to my garden hose. Make sure that's nice and tight because you don't want water to be leaking right here from the hose connection. All right, so we'll turn this on and let it run for a while, and we'll see how it does. We just turned it on, and immediately you can see water is beating up and dripping. We're gonna let this run a half an hour, so I just began running it, and you can see there's a sunflower right there, and there's another one over here. And in a half hour, this whole area is gonna be nice and wet. Okay, so this is all the way at the other end of the soaker hose. And you can say, even down here, 50 feet away, we're getting a nice amount of water pressure. And this sunflower right here is getting a nice little drink. So we'll check back later after it's had a little time to water. We're Amazon affiliates, and we're gonna put links in the description below for these brass shutoff valves and these soaker hoses. So you can order everything right from Amazon, and it'll arrive right to your home. Okay, so we've been running the soaker hose about a half an hour, and I just want to show you 3 different points along the line. We'll do right at the beginning, we'll do the middle and the end of the line, and you'll be able to see how even the water has been distributed. Okay, so there's the barn. This is the start of our run right over there. And you can see, you know, we're getting quite a lot of water, and that's quite well irrigated right there. Okay, here's about the halfway point. And once again, you can see how much water is down in there. It's quite a lot. So this area is well watered. The sunflower's over here, and it's nice and moist in this area too. All right, so then all the way down here at the end of the line, you can see that the irrigation made it all the way to the very end. That's all water right there. All right, well, that's basically all there is to effectively use soaker hose irrigation. You just have to remember those 2 key points. Number 1, you want to have a closed system. Number 2, low water pressure, a quarter turn is all you need. And that should help you whether you need to water flower beds or fruit trees, garden beds, pretty much anything. If you got anything out of the video, if you could hit the thumbs up button, that really helps out our channel and we appreciate it. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we have a ton of home improvement videos on the way. Thank you very much for viewing, and we'll see you in this video. This ladder is 7 feet tall, so you can see that the tomatoes are growing quite tall. So evidently the soaker hoses are effective.